Now, each and every week on Tuesday, many of you will know that we usually get the insurance registrations published by Leodo. Then we get the report from CNF Post. Now, for the period ending the 19th of January, NEO had a total insurance registrations of around 4,749. Now, from this or out of these, 2,836 were coming from the NEO main brand, whilst 1,913 was coming from the ONVO L60. You will realize that this 2,836 for NEO is an improvement from the 1,500 we saw last week, and this 1,913 from the ONVO L60. It's better than the 1,800 we saw last week coming from ONVO. So yeah, man, this is what we received, and I know to some of the investors they might be not liking these figures, but I must tell you, NEO is doing whatever they can. I mean, we know that obviously there are people, NEO, for the main model, we know that the demand might not be that much simply because NEO is planning to launch new models the second half of this year, and because of that, many of the NEO fans will be wanting to wait or are waiting for those models to come through. I mean, we have seen sneak peeks or camouflaged sneak peeks of some of the models that NEO will be launching, or some of the upgraded models that they will be launching this year, which is something that of course makes us think about what we are going to see in the second half of this year. So 4,749 is what NEO had in total, which is not that bad because we still got this whole week. We still got next week on Monday, because you'll know that from Tuesday next week until Sunday it will be the Chinese New Year holiday, and therefore we cannot expect much. So NEO better take this week as if it was the last week, or it's the last week of the month, because next week we know that even if they try to make some activities, it will not be that much, which is something that we need to have, or we need to already have going to next week. So 4,700 is what NEO scoped. I believe, or I still maintain, that over 20,000 vehicles are going to come from NEO, but I must give kudos to AV maker like Xpeng. I mean, Xpeng, for the same period ending the 19th, they had 9,400, Zika 3,600, Lipmoto 7,000, Aito 6,100, Leodo 9,500. We've got Tesla with 10,000. So Lipmoto, Aito, Zika, and NEO, I can safely say they are the ones that are a bit struggling when it comes to delivering good quantities in terms of weekly insurance registrations. But hopefully we'll continue seeing things improve for NEO and ONVO. I mean, we know that from March, end of March, NEO is going to introduce the ET9, which that might also bring some revival onto the registrations that NEO gets to produce on a week to week. Though that model is not expected to sell much in terms of quantities because it is the most expensive NEO model, we know that they will be able to do well. And the positive for that one, as I've said before, I think the gross margins will be much better, will be much higher, because most of the things that are used to build that car are made in-house, or most of the parts that are used to build that car are coming in-house. We have discussed all of these parts. We have discussed the autonomous driving chip. We have discussed quite a number of things about the operating system of NEO, and that's why I say gross margins will be better, or it will bring an improvement when it comes to the gross margins. So yeah, this is what we saw this week, and this to me, it's not a train smash. 4,700 is still fine, and hopefully things get to improve with time. Xpeng is doing exceptionally well. Xpeng right now, it's able to sell the same figures that Leodo is selling, meaning that on a month, we could see Xpeng this month selling almost 50,000 vehicles, which will be so great for them. And I know for the new investors, we want this to happen to NEO, but I tell you, our time will come. Second half, I think things should be much better for NEO. In fact, from March going to April, because April, you know that NEO is starting with the deliveries of their Firefly sub-brand, and hopefully they get to revive the kind of sales that we see coming from NEO. Last week, total insurance registrations 3,300. This week, total insurance registration 4,700. And that week ending the 5th of January, we know NEO had 5,300 insurance registrations, which combined all these you will realize that in total we have got 13,300. This is where we are sitting in terms of the total insurance registrations for NEO. But you need to take cognizance that that first 5,300, 2 days on that week that NEO produced that 5,300, for the first 2 days we're falling under December, so we have to subtract that also, which unfortunately we don't know, or we can't tell exactly how many they were for those 2 days. But as it stands, all full 3 weeks including those 2 days, NEO is currently sitting at just over 13,300, meaning that for them to get to over 20,000, they still got like what they need to have like 6,800 or 7,000 at least, so that they go over the 20,000 mark. I maintain and believe that ONVO is going to sell plus 10,000 deliveries. I am still quite positive that also can still give us plus 10,000 deliveries, and in total they will give us over 20,000 deliveries. And hopefully in February, though February is short, we get to see an improvement, because you will know that based off what we saw last year in January when you delivered 10,000 vehicles for the month of January. If NEO can do plus 20,000 this month, it will be 100% growth for NEO, which will be so great, and of course it will excite the investors. I know the pace might not be the kind of pace that we are seeing onto EV stocks like XPeng, but you will have to remember that XPeng sells cheap EVs, and obviously they can be able to get more orders than NEO, because their cars can be afforded by quite a number of people. I mean, NEO, there is an issue of the fact that their models cannot be just afforded by anyone in China. The secondly is that their models are a bit outdated or a bit old now, which is why NEO is intending on launching new models in the second half of this year. And with that in mind, I think we can understand why the NEO figures are low. We can understand why NEO had 2,800 for last week. We can understand that. But anyways, let's wait, let's see how things unfold. But 4,700 is what NEO had, and yeah, we hope things improve. But I still maintain my 100% growth rate onto NEO when it comes to the deliveries they are going to produce this year, which will make NEO to be on the right track, knowing that they are targeting to grow by their deliveries by 100% this year. So let's look forward. I'm positive, I'm long and strong. Tell me what you think about this. Blue sky is coming. I'll see you on my next video, man, and God bless you all.